With Crisis on Infinite Earth about to start, let's do a recap of Elseworld. What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeekMixer here to give you guys a recap video on the previous crossover event in the Arrowverse called Elseworld. The reason why it's good to do a recap video of this one is because this was a prelude crossover to the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline we're about to get from here to January. So it makes sense that we would want to do this. And this is a good video for those who don't have a chance to revisit Elseworld. Instead, you can check out this recap video. So let's go ahead and get started. And it all starts off with Earth 90. We're introduced to Earth 90, which is the homeworld of the 90 DC superheroes back in the 90s. Unfortunately, though, the entire world is destroyed. The only sole survivor is the Flash from the 90s, and he survives and witnesses the debut of the Monitor. And it's through him we find out it's because of the Monitor that his world is gone, and he is the only survivor. But things only get more crazier as the Monitor heads to Earth 1, where we are introduced to a new character called Dr. John Deegan, who is a psychiatrist of some sort, I guess, from Arkham Asylum. The Monitor approaches him and gives him a book that he got from Earth 90 called the Book of Destiny. With it, John Deegan rewrites reality of Earth 1, and that's how Elseworld begins. Now moving on to the hero side of things, Oliver and Barry both wake up, not as themselves, but instead, Oliver is now the Flash, and Barry is now the Green Arrow. Now just to make sure not to confuse them, I'm just going to go by their hero names, no matter if it's Oliver, who was supposed to be the Flash, or Barry, who's supposed to be Green Arrow, because let's face it, I'll just confuse myself and you guys. But moving straight on, Oliver wakes up to find out he is the Flash, and after stopping a robbery, does he decide to go visit Barry, but not before he activates an Amazo robot from that robbery. But not only that, with Barry also waking up sparring with John and finding out he's the Green Arrow, he goes to stop an underworld trade, and after stopping the underworld trade, that Barry show up, and they both start to try to figure things out. Or more of Oliver as was trying to figure it out. Green Arrow was trying to figure it out, while Flash was just having fun being Green Arrow. That was until Green Arrow decided to tell him he woke up in bed with Iris. Only then did Barry decide to take it seriously. And the first thing they decide to do is try to tell Team Flash about what's happened, and the fact that Barry is Barry and Oliver is Oliver. But unfortunately, they don't believe them, and instead they put them both in the what's that called? Oh yeah, the power dampener for metahumans in the Star Labs. And since they know that no one could believe them, they decided that maybe Kara from Earth 38 would believe them, since she's from a different Earth. They think it didn't affect their world. And luckily, though, they were able to at least get Iris to convince them to let them go at first. And that's when we move in to Earth 38. And it's there that we are introduced to the Arrowverse version of Lois Lane, who, yes, as you know, is in a relationship with Clark. And it's here we get to know their relationship and see Kara taking some time off in Smallville over there with them. But that is also when for the first time, Green Arrow and Flash get to meet Superman and Lois Lane. And it turns out that, yes, Kara isn't affected by what happened in that reality. And it's during that time that Flash and Green Arrow decide to test each other's powers out so they can get the hang of them. And this is where it led into what you would call revenge is so sweet moment, as the Flash got to get revenge on the Green Arrow for all those years ago when they first met by shooting arrows in the back into his back with remote controlled arrows. I'm not gonna lie, I had to bring that up because it was just too funny not to leave that out. But while all this was happening before they went to Earth, we also had gotten Cisco here who ended up getting a vibe about the Monitor. And And not only that, he also found out that the skies are turning red and there's lightning bolts everywhere. And being the smart guy he is, he was already putting it together, but mostly from his vibe through the monitor. But while figuring all that out, though, Barry and Oliver, who had an argument, at least took a time to have a heart-to-heart talk to realize how they need to be in order to work with their powers and abilities, which is good because after Cisco had found out about the things that are going on, did he return to Earth 38 to get Oliver and to get, Barry, Green Arrow, and Supergirl. And not to mention, Superman joined the party, and it's there that they went back to Earth 1 to take care of Amazo, who ended up absorbing all their powers. But luckily, through teamwork, they were able to knock this guy down. And after finally doing that, did Cisco let them know about having a vibe of the monitor. And that's when Green Arrow and Flash decide to vibe with Cisco again so they can get a better look at the monitor. It was there that they learned that he and John Deegan were the ones responsible for rewriting reality. And through that vision, they found out they needed to go to Gotham City. But while those guys were going to Gotham City, but before going there, they decide to visit Argus and get the team of Team Flash and Arrow scientists to work on a device to take care of what's going on with the red sky and the lightning. It was during that time that each of them found a way to make a device, and that's how in the end they were able to figure out what was going on. It was actually a breach by Flash 90, and it informed them that the only way to reset the reality of Earth 1 was through getting the Book of Destiny. And while those guys had figured that out, the heroes in the meantime, Supergirl, Flash, and Green Arrow, went inside Gotham City. Unfortunately, though, they got arrested. But luckily, and in return, they got a post bail, thanks to who they at first was thinking it was Bruce Wayne. But no, it was Bruce Wayne's cousin, Kate Kane, who makes her Arrowverse debut and the Elseworld episode, just like Lois Lane. And she decided to let them hang there so they could take care of their business and leave, because that's what Kate Kane was trying to do. It was there that they eventually found out about John Deegan, and with Kate Kane's help, learned that he works in Arkham Asylum. But while those guys were on their way there, where they also rendezvoused with Team Flash and Arrow scientists, Kate Kane dressed up as Batwoman to go help them, knowing that they would just cause a ruckus. And man, she wasn't wrong there, because as soon as they make it into Arkham Asylum, that Oliver and John meet John Deegan, and before they can capture him, John Deegan, he sets up a riot in the Arkham Asylum. But here's the kicker. During that riot, we met Psycho Pirate. That's right, we got a little cameo of Psycho Pirate during the riot. But things only got crazier for Flash and Green Arrow, who ended up seeing hallucinations of their arch enemy, Malcolm Merlyn and Reverse Flash, and they would have no doubt destroyed each other had Batwoman not showed up and spoiled all the fun. They find the book, and then they decide to head back to Star City. But not before Kara and Kate Kane had a moment as the world's finest. Batwoman and Supergirl, world's finest like their cousins. That makes a lot of sense. But then after finding the book, did they get a visit from Earth 90's Barry Allen, who informed them that the one responsible for the Book of Destiny and Earth 1 being alternated was the Monitor, who is using the Book of Destiny to test multiverses of different Earths. And after finding that out, do they not only find the Monitor, but he purposely shows himself so they could confront him. Why? Because the Monitor is warning them of a crisis that is coming, and that he's doing all this to prepare people for that crisis. After telling them that, though, he retrieves the book and gives it back to Deegan so he could rewrite reality again into something better. So Deegan decides to rewrite it to where he becomes Superman. Yes, and this time he is wearing black, while Barry Allen and Oliver are now wanted criminals. Supergirl is now a prisoner of Star Labs. Now, to make sure not to confuse things, I'm going to just call Deegan Superman Super Deegan. Or Super Deegan Man, I don't know, whichever way you want to look at it. But one thing's for certain, John Deegan as Superman in this new reality, Star Labs is his headquarters, John Diggles, Caitlin are his allies, and we actually get to meet Earth 1 Alex. But also, Cisco is a crime boss in this reality. Yeah, so he really turned it up this time. But while all that's going on, Barry and Oliver, who are now wanted criminals, try to get Cisco to help them out by breaching through to Earth 38 so they can get Superman and Lois Lane to help. But before doing that, they run into the Monitor, who is telling them about how self-sacrifice won't be enough to stop the crisis that's coming. If only they knew what he meant then. But after finding Cisco and getting him to go to Earth 38, did we get to see the Fortress of Solitude, but also them finding Superman, who ended up giving them a tip on how to use the Book of Reality. It turns out a strong will had to be used in order to use that Book of Reality. But while all this was going on, Supergirl was able to convince Earth 1 Alex to help her. And before she and Earth 1 Alex could be confronted by Superman Deegan, no sooner that Superman, Green Arrow, and Flash showed up to help. And that's when we got a Superman versus Superman battle. But while all that went on, the heroes found the Book of Destiny in the Time Vault and was able to give it to Superman in time to rewrite reality enough to where Supergirl, Green Arrow, Flash were able to get their powers back, but not enough to completely turn things back to normal, because in the end, Superman Deegan, with almost threatening Barry's life, was able to get the book back and start to rewrite reality again. However, this time the heroes, all four heroes, came up with a plan, with Barry and Supergirl running around the globe to try and stop time. That way, buy them time to be able to stop Deegan. But it's there that we found out, Superman found out that they were going to die by doing that. Knowing that that would happen no matter what, Green Arrow decided to go visit the Monitor and make him change things, and which he did, but it turns out it came at a price. One change requiring another, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But while all that was going on, Superman tried to keep on fighting Superman Deegan. Luckily, he got help in the form of Lois, Brainiac 5, and Martian Manhunter, who arrived just in time to help. And as all this was going on, Barry and Kara were nearly about to die until Oliver showed up with an arrow made by the Monitor to help him finally defeat Deegan, who was now defeated, and the reality of Earth 1 was now safe. With all that gone, everyone returned to their planets, and everyone turned back to normal, or so they thought. It turns out that Clark and Lois revealed to Kara back on Earth 38 that they're going to have a baby. And not only that, Superman proposes to Lois, so good on them. But also, it turns out, Batwoman gives Oliver a call, letting him know that Deegan has now made a new friend, and that new friend is none other than Psycho Pirate. That's right, guys. And that's not just the kicker of it. At the end of it all, we were given the teaser of coming in the fall, Crisis on Infinite Earths. And that is Elseworld, guys. Crazy stuff, huh? Especially the whole reality switching thing. I'm pretty sure that could really confuse you, especially if you do a recap video of it. But even still, though, what I'm interested in was when we found out Lois and Clark were going to have a kid, and that TV series they're making for that, there's hints of it that's how we're going to be introduced to the Super Sons. Really? For real? I'm serious, guys. That's a shocker. I've always looked at the Super Sons only making a TV debut and animation first before live action. But if they're actually going to do this first, I am not complaining. This actually might be interesting. Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, the Super Sons live action TV series. I have nothing against that. I think that'll be great. But as for everything else, like I said, this crossover was a prelude to Crisis on Infinite Earth, guys. And since I also noticed that people like my recap videos, I felt this one was unnecessary. And I do thank everyone for supporting me for that and all my other videos and critiquing me to help me get better and stuff. And I still continue to do my best here. But I appreciate everyone's help and supporting me. All my subscribers, I have nothing but thanks for you guys. But now, I'm going to leave it all at that. And hey, if you guys are ready to see Crisis on Infinite Earth, it's about to start here soon. So I hope you're watching it and enjoying it. And I hope this video helped you. But until then, if you're enjoying my videos, all you gotta do is click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified when I make more videos. And until then, MegaGeekMixer signing out. Bye!